Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid unboxing of sorts. So this is kind of a special video as we're going to go over two sets of promo, like they were kind of pre-order cards. Is we have the Shogun Zords. We're going to go over all of those. As well as we have the Ranger Sentry alternate minions. And then after that, I'm going to go through some previews for some of the upcoming stuff coming out. But I'm going to get through the cards first in case you already know about the other stuff. You don't have to care. And then I'm going to have a little self-promotion at the very end. So again, if you don't want to stick around for that, if you can, if you're a fan of my stuff, I would appreciate it if you stuck around and checked that out. Alright, so let's jump in. So these were promos that were part of the pre-order for the either Merciless Minions, which where we got the Ranger Sentries, or the Time Force Rangers, which we got the Shogun Zords. They should be available at some point on the Renegade website. Usually they're like $5 a pack. So you can also pick up lots of that stuff. They usually make all their pre-order content available. It's just free if you pre-order it. So if you are a fan of the Power Ranger games, yeah, keep an eye on their website. Maybe subscribe to the newsletter so that way, or at least check out the Facebook page. Then that way you can get updates on when new stuff is coming out. Alright, so we have the Red Shogun Zord for Mighty Morphin. Exhaust this card when any ranger places a card on the bottom of their deck after revealing it for defense. Roll 2 dice and deal that much damage to an enemy card of your choice. This is kind of interesting because red usually you get extra dice. But lots of times there's extra leadership stuff. This is kind of like, hey, if they take damage, you get a respond and you attack. So it's a good retaliation card. We have the Blue Shogun Zord. Exhaust this card when during a battle, gain 1 energy and deal 1 damage to a card of your choice. Not super flashy, but that 1 energy or 1 damage could definitely mean the difference between performing 1 more attack or finishing off a guy. So I'm never going to argue with that. The Black Shogun Zord. Exhaust this card when any ranger plays an attack card with an energy cost of 1 or 0. Choose 1 rolled die from that attack and deal that much hits to each enemy adjacent to the target. I also like to just choosing one of them, so it's hopefully 1 or 2. Again, a little extra splash damage, which is good because he's a frog. But yeah, it's also that it doesn't use that die. You're not getting rid of that die, it's just giving you an extra one. And if you did roll a bunch of dice, even better. Yellow Shogun Zord. Exhaust this card at the start of any ranger's turn in battle. Choose a ranger, gain energy equal, or each time the chosen ranger plays a card during this turn. Ooh, so this works really well with characters like the Yellow Ranger, who can play multiple cards with the same name. Or someone like the Pink Ranger or Red Ranger who have good reaction abilities. It could be like, hey, play this, then play another card. So you can use that extra energy to do stuff. This one's kind of fun and interesting. So it's the White Shogun Zord, which is Mighty Morphin White or Mighty Morphin Pink. Because basically they interchange who is using it depending on which episode or what they were doing. So exhaust this card when any ranger plays a card. Reduce the energy cost of that card by 1. After the card resolves, the ranger may place it on top of their deck instead of discard it. Nice. So free reduction of a card. Super helpful. Then of course we get to form the Mighty Shogun Megazord. Exhaust this card when any ranger deals damage to when any enemy deals damage to a ranger. Prevent all that damage and deal an equal amount of hits to that enemy. Cool. So if they hit you with something really big, you can send it right back to them. Very good for bosses. Which is probably when you're going to get it. The only thing that's sort of disappointing is because now we don't have tokens for all our Zords, because we didn't get one for this one. But, you know, what do you do, right? We also have a second one. We have the Shogun Ultra Zord, which is the Shogun Megazord riding Titanus. What also looks like you might have the Dragon Megazord shield in front, and maybe Titanus always has that. Other thing to note, as everyone keeps pointing out, is he has a pink arm instead of a white arm. So there was times when he went into this mode, he had the pink Shogun Zord instead of the white one, and it was just a edit they messed up somewhere. But yeah, it's kind of interesting they included it in here. At least people are mentioning it. I kind of vaguely remember that from watching the show way back in the day, but she says, exhaust this card at the start of any ranger turn in battle. Deal 2 damage to each enemy card. I think it's a lot like your regular Megazord. Just, yeah, be able to drop and do 2 damage. Yeah, 2 extra damage to each enemy card can definitely make a big difference. Alright. Up next, we have the Ranger Sentries rule card. So, if you watch the video for Merciless Minions, Pack 1, you'll see they did the same thing. That has Cogs and Cyclobots, but he also had cards for Chaos Putties, which let you replace the Super Putties or Putty Patrollers or potentially the Z Putties with them. So they keep the same locations. They keep the same locations and same deployment deck. They just swap out their actual cards. This is the same thing. Ranger Sentries are alternate deck for the Mastodon Trooper Foot Soldier type. Include them in your game. Use the figures, deployment cards, and location tiles for Mastodon Troopers, but replace their enemy deck with this. So it requires regular and Shattered Grid, which is why they didn't stick it in a box, because you require Shattered Grid to get those Mastodons. But yeah, so this is a cool way for them to add extra characters, or maybe alternate versions of characters, kind of like the Chaos Putties or just souped up Putties, or the other Ranger Sentries instead of just the Mastodons, without having to reprint off a bunch of miniatures or brand new locations for everything. So let's take a look at that. So we're going to get Dino Charge Gold Vanguard. 4 health, guard, deal 1 damage to each ranger, increase this damage by 1 for each hit token on this card. The Pterodactyl Sniper, 2 health, fast, roll 3 dice and deal that much damage to the ranger with the fewest cards in their deck. 2 copies of Sabertooth Commando, deal 2 damage to 2 different rangers twice. The Silver Space Scout, 3 health, fast. During the next ranger's turn in this battle, increase the energy cost of all cards by 1. And finally, Tyrannosaurus Sentry, 3 health, guard, and passive. List cards in play each time an adjacent enemy card deals damage or drains energy, increase the effects by 1. Yes, definitely a little bit more powerful foot soldiers. So it's kind of like now you sort of got some of these replacement, like the Chaos Putty, the same thing. You got regular ones, and you got kind of elite foot soldiers, which do a little bit more damage. I've also heard people will mix in 2 of the Mastodon Troopers in here, so you can have the full set. But yeah, that's definitely a cool way to do that. Oh, and there's the back of the card. You want to see what they look like. Definitely neat. Alright, so that was our 2 sets of promo cards. Then I want to go through and look at some preview stuff. So 1 second. Alright, now that the Merciless Minions and Time Force sets are now hitting everyone's home, they're going to start announcing the next pre-order or Kickstarter. I'm not sure how they're doing this. But here's some of the items that are coming out. So you just want to kind of just a refresher. So if you're not interested in this, you can either skip to later in my video and see my promotional stuff for my things, or you can just stop watching and thanks for viewing what you did. But we have a Zordon Dice Tower. So yeah, you just sit there, you drop the dice in, it'll shoot them out and kind of roll them for you. Nice aesthetic to the game as well. And then it's also showing on the bottom are the Heroes of the Grid dice. At the top are the RPG dice. So it also comes with this backer that works as a screen. So if you're playing the role-playing game, someone can use that as their GM screen as well. So it's kind of a cool double feature for this game. for the actual heroes of the grid. And I'm not going to go through all the RPG stuff in here. They have a ton of stuff coming out for that as well. But our next big box set is Light and Darkness, which is a really cool theme because it has 5 Rangers that are all heroes, and then 5 villains, which are the same person or a version of them. Lots of it's like their evil version or evil side. Which you can kind of see their mirroring on there, which is really cool. So we'll look at some of those cards quick. We have like Lebo, the... let me see if I can zoom back out a little bit. There we go. So this is his card. He's the Wolf Warrior. 4 honor. Once per battle, any ranger reveals a card for defense with no star ability. You may reveal a card from your hand and use its star ability as a look revealed for defense. So that's definitely cool. Like, a lot of cards have stars, and sometimes occasionally they can play off of other characters, but this guy actually gets to play off of people not using them. And then we have his evil version, which is Korag. Eye of the Master. Guard passive. While this card is in play, Rangers cannot perform reactions or use star abilities. When this card resolves, drain 2 energy. So definitely a pain. I think that was from Mystic Force. This is from Jungle Fury, which we've already had the Jungle Fury Wolf Ranger, the purple one. So now we're going to get the Black Lion Warrior. It says Lion combo, 1 cost, 3 defense, reaction. Play this card when any ranger defeats an enemy card with an attack. You may perform an attack with 2 dice. Yeah, so like the Mighty Morphin Yellow has an ability similar to when she does it. She just doing. His lets him just take advantage of other people doing it. So we don't have his opposite. I don't have a previous opposite side, which is Dai Shi. I'm guessing he's going to be a boss card. We do have this alternate version of the bad guy version of, actually we'll flip to this one. So Dino Charge Dark Ranger. So we haven't had any Dino Chargers yet. We have Dark Energem. Maneuver. Discard your entire hand until the end of this battle. You may play Dark Ranger cards from your discard pile, and you may rearrange the order of your discard pile. That's definitely interesting. And he also second job as the Purple Solar Ranger. I believe not the purple, whatever, Dark Solar Ranger, whatever they end up calling him for the Solar Ranger. But he's one of the last characters we needed to finish off having at least one version of every Solar Ranger. So here's his evil version, it's a Snide. 1 ranger must shuffle their hand into their deck, then discard half their deck rounded up. They may then draw up to 3 cards. You might not want to. So here we have... I don't remember what sector. Wild Force. It's the name of it. So they have the Hammerhead Shark Wild Zord for the Lunar Wolf Ranger. It says, exhaust this card during battle and gain 1 energy and deal 1 hit to an enemy of your choice. Then swap this card with the Alligator Wild Zord or Wolf Wild Zord. The swap card remains exhausted. So this is kind of neat because it means they're going to have to somehow figure out when you get these, if you draw 1, is a rule that you just get to use any of the Wild Zords, or if you have them set aside, or how that works. If you mix certain ones in, and they all have little options to flip around. Should be interesting to see how they work with this. There's a lot of the series that have multiple Zords that swap in and out, so having a way to have more access to some of these is really cool. Then we have Villain Pack number 5, Terror Through Time. So this is going to add villains to fight against the previously released Time Force Rangers. So we're going to have Ransk as the boss, 5 health, passive, Mutant Strength. While this card is in play, the health value of all adjacent ranked cards is increased by 2. Once resolves, deal 5 damage. It's kind of neat that this sort of plays on a time effect as well. Because it's like, hey, you do so much time, you get this. Then we have Frax, the Minion Master. 4 health, guard, and passive. While this card is in play, Rangers cannot place hit tokens on Frax until each foot soldier card adjacent to that card has been defeated or resolved. Varric, the Spinal Form, 6 health, passive, so we got Nemesis. While this card is in play, each time Varric deals damage, it is dealt to each Ranger. Trakina, that's Bigger Blade, 4 health and fast. Deal 5 damage if any of Trakina's cards are defeated or discarded, deal 8 damage instead. Then we have another Nemesis with Decker. So he's actually a Samurai Ranger bad guy, which is also fun. Because she's part of this is the Red Ranger, this is the male version, we have the female one, Lauren Shiba, who's in the Shattered Grid set. So maybe maybe a good call. It means they're going to maybe release the Samurai Ranger soon. A Proper Duel. 4 health, fast. Defeat and remove all foot soldier cards in the combat sequence. Deal 4 damage to each Ranger other than Decker's Nemesis. Or Deeker. And then this is the final one. This is actually going to be in the big box set, the Light and Darkness. It's the Ringshi Beast and the Ringshi, who are part of Jungle Fury. But it's also interesting because we haven't seen this before. This is it's a different type of foot soldier. So the other ones are normally like the lime green or bright green. This is like a kind of like a darker purple. So it looks kind of like their elites are what I guess people are referring to them as. So we have like the circle, like we would have. So if we look at one of these guys, so we have like the circles, which denote they're a regular foot soldier. But then we have the other guy that's kind of like a like downward arrow. So it's kind of like there's the regular version and like the elite version. So I'm guessing you just summon one of each, and then maybe you draw cards from each of their decks. It's kind of again a neat way to just add more different enemies into the game. Alright, and then one of these sets is also going, or maybe a pre-order, I'm not sure how they're released. This is going to be in a Raga pack, which is fixing things that were messed up. So, yeah, we're going to get Shattered Grid, they're going to fix Accelerate, I'll just list them, I'm not going to read through all of them. But this could be something where maybe they just adjusted the text a little bit, or something was misspelt or something like that. I'm not sure on all of them. What exactly the issue was. But yeah, it's kind of neat. It's a good way, these bonus packs and stuff like this are neat ways for them to kind of fix the games without having to wait until there's like a full re-release of the game, which is how lots of games fix it. They're like, nope, we printed it, we're done. Renegade Studios is really good at like, hey, these cards got messed up, or some of these might be similar to the Pudgy Pig Rito ones, where they're updated versions. I wonder if maybe some of that, like they're like, hey, here's a replacement. But since they're called a Raga, it sounds like they're fixing. Also, one of the pre-orders can be the Psycho Silver alternate figure. So, again, I haven't really watched Space Rangers much, or I know I watched Lost Galaxy a bit. But, so, the Silver Ranger, at one point became he dressed up as a Psycho Silver to like infiltrate them. So there's not actually an evil Psycho Silver Ranger. This is just the Ranger regular version, but they made alternate sculpt so he can be the villain. So it's just kind of neat. That's at least I like the alternate sculpts. So they're kind of making some neat ones there. Also gonna get a new power board, which just has some of the newer Zords. We have like Quantum Saurus Rex. I don't remember. This is the Hydra Zord for Hyperforce, the Wolf Zord from Jungle Fury, and the Bunny from Beast Morphers. Yeah, just extra different back. It's kind of cool. You're making another full big game. Why not do it? So I wonder if Light and Dark is also maybe going to serve as, if this is, I don't know if this is going to be in Light and Dark as serve as a brand new base game, so you can buy one or the other, or if it's going to be this is like just like a pre-order bonus. I'm not for sure. I know they're also adding these panic tokens in there, so you can actually stand them up, just so they're easier to see, easier to move around. So that is what we have, I believe, for previews for that. So the other thing I want to preview before I get into my own self-promotions is G.I. Joe Critical Mission. So the Kickstarter's already done, but the game is coming out, so if you hadn't heard about this, this is a new version of the Power Rangers, basically. Sorry, I'm going to flip to the bottom here where they explain this. So this is the new Guardian system. So the Guardian system is what now they're calling the whole idea of, like, you play the cards, you have the boards, all that stuff, the shields, all that. So the G.I. Joe game is going to work the same basic way. So they're going to have the original box. Now, there are some various big differences in here, because, so instead of having teams like Power Ranger, or like Mighty Morphin, Time Force, Zeo Rangers, basically you have G.I. Joes and you have Cobra. That's it. They're not going to have the different teams. So that's one little thing that changed, but that didn't really make that big of a difference other than, like, picking characters that went together. The Zords are being swapped out for vehicles, which have a new mechanic. There's a couple of different things they added in here, but they're clearly taking rules. So we're going to get our main characters. We have Snake Eyes, Scarlet, Duke, Stalker, and Cover Girl. So we have 5 heroes. We have some bosses. Let me just zoom up a bit here. We have, so there's our main characters. We're going to have a boss, Cobra Commander, and then rather than having a second boss, we have a nemesis, Baroness, and Nemesis right away. So instead of monsters, now they're listed as lieutenants. We have Dr. Mindmentor, Major Blood, and Copperhead. Then the foot soldiers are going to come in 2 different colors. So we have a red and a blue one. So I'm assuming they're going to do that for all of them, just maybe so you kind of keep them different. I honestly, I wish they would have just made them all the same color. Just like keep them the same as all the other characters, you know, like Power Rangers, but that's right. But we're going to have Cobra Troopers and Crimson Guards. We have our dice, so we just did some green ones. Then you have all your different cards, but you're going to have a lot of the same exact stuff. Your costs, everything else, maneuvers, actions, dice. So they're all directly compatible that way. They have different backs, of course, but that's not an issue unless you're mixing decks together. The same thing with the characters. Same colors, green, yellow, yellow, oranges, They do have different symbols, though. As you can see, the foot soldiers, instead of having a putty, have a foot. They have, like, an arrow. There's a cobra symbol. They just have a little bit different symbols, but the colors help make sure they stay the same. So that helps, too. Then that's neat is this deployment deck, which we'll get to in just a minute. So we do have our big size cards, and we have vehicles. So the way this works is you have your regular base, and let's see if they explain it on this page at all. So how to play, resolving combat. I don't remember if they explain it right on this page or not. They might explain it in one of the updates. I'll have to go look for it. Yeah, here's deployment. So what you do is you reveal one of these deployments cards, and you take cards of the indicated minion from the supply. Place enemy minions on a location with the token matching the icon on the back of the deployment card. So you're gonna do is basically it's gonna be so like instead of these being putties or this or that, it's gonna be one group is gonna be like this red one might be a blue one. And then you'll have a deployment thing, and you drop that in a location. So now what it does is it allows you to take any teams and mix them with any locations, because they're not tied. Like the backs of the cards aren't tied to it, like where the putty patrollers are tied to like Angel Grove High and Ernie's Juice Bar. Now these miniatures can be mixed with anything by placing these extra little tokens out. So that's actually really cool. because then you can mix and match all of them to different areas. So that like these 4 different tiles. So you have like, castle. So you put one of those on each thing, and it determines where each guy goes. So it's kind of cool. And then they're also going to add that as a feature eventually, I think, into Power Rangers as well. Then we have an expansion right away, of course. So we have the heavy firepower, which can give us Gun Ho, Bomb Strike, and Roadblock, as well as Destro and Scrap Iron for a boss and lieutenant. Your regular cards, tarot cards, all that. Then there's some add-ons added to some colored dice, which work like the Power Ranger one. We have more vehicles, and then there was a exclusive Snake Eyes, which not only does he have an alternate pose, he also has a different card. So that's different, because so far all of the Power Ranger alternate sculpts have just been alternate sculpts. They haven't had any extra cards. So if you don't really care about what your miniature looks like, this is kind of interesting that they made an extra card for him as well that's different. But it'll also be available after eventually on the website. So the other big difference is the vehicles. So you're going to get this board here, which is going to have vehicles listed on there. So they kind of work. So unlike the Power Rangers, where you have to defeat so many villains to like then gain, I defeat 6 villains, I gain a Zord. Then you start over, I gain 6 villains. Here you put them on the board down here, and then you spend your defeated villains to basically use a vehicle. So you have multiple options out, so instead of the Zords, you're getting random ones. You don't know what one you're getting. The vehicles, you know exactly which ones you have available to you and what they do. But once you use them, they go in the discard pile and you draw a new one. And you have to spend them. So you kind of have to decide, do I want to save up for the 6 cost one and do a big effect, or do I need to use this 2 one right now and then hold off until I take out some more guys? So it's an interesting, different way to do the oversized cards. And then you could, alternatively, there is a rule mixing it with Power Rangers where you can build them up and you can do one or the other. You can either try and save up 6 to get a Zord, and have big effects that you can use every turn, or you can spend them as you go along and get vehicles, and you can kind of go back and forth. So it's kind of a neat thing coming out. So I just wanted to point that out since it's, Power Ranger Heroes of the Grid adjacent. Alright, so the very last thing I want to just make a little shout out to is I am going to be launching a site coming out soon. I'm just trying to get some finishing touches on it before I put it up. Like I said, just got the brand new set, so I like to get this stuff up for them. But what it is, so this is just a glimpse of the main page. We have Power Rangers, Heroes of the Grid, and Critical Mission, as well as the deck building games for Power Rangers, G.I. Joe, Transformers, and possibly My Little Pony. I don't own any of those ones yet, but I might pick them up just because I love different types of games and it has some very unique mechanics. Because although Power Rangers, Heroes of the Grid, and G.I. Joe Critical Mission are basically 2 sides of the same opposite coin, like they play the same way, they can mix and match, the deck builders all play very differently. Power Rangers is a versus head-to-head game. G.I. Joe's, you're going on missions, trying to solve, using vehicles to solve missions. The Transformers is kind of almost like a board game. You're moving around this matrix of cards, trying to uncover, hopefully not getting ambushed by Autobots or Decepticons, because you can play either side on these. Same thing with Power Rangers, you can play heroes or villains. The G.I. Joe, currently, I think you can only play as the Joes. I don't think you can play as the Cobra yet. And then My Little Pony has more of like an adventure aspect, like it has big mission cards and you're working as a team to try and solve these other missions. And you have little meeples and you collect tokens like different friendship gems. So it's neat that they all 4 play very different. They could have just like almost tried to recreate them off the same game. So this is a base game. What I'm going to do, so like, this is what the Power Ranger, just a brief glimpse of what it's going to be. So you click into the Power Ranger Heroes of the Grid. It's going to list all the different box sets. We have our 5 main big box sets. We have some Ranger packs on the bottom down here. So that way you can click on them, and when you click on like the main one, you're going to get brought to another page which is going to have all the Ranger cards. So this is for Heroes of the Grid. You can go through and we're going to have this page list is going to show off the miniature, show off the card, and then show off all the cards in their deck. And I figure this would be a great way because I'm on the Facebook group for Power Rangers, and people are just trying to remember what card does what. Or maybe you're just having an idea for something, you're trying to figure things out or answer a question for someone. And I thought this would be a great way for people just to review the cards without having to go pick up their physical cards all the time and go through them all. They could kind of sit there and maybe flash through each one. But it's sorted out by set. I might add a page where I maybe put all the Ranger cards together just so you can like look at all the Rangers together, maybe all the Zords on one page. I'm still definitely in the process of fixing and editing and changing stuff up. But what's also really fun about this is if I click on one of these Ranger cards on the bottom, it gives me an expanded view. So I don't have to just try and read the small text on here. I mean, it's fairly decent size. We scroll up, you'll have each Ranger, go through all the villains, all that stuff. But yeah, you can click on it, and then once you're in this screen, you can hit left or right to see the next card. So yeah, and I'm going to update that eventually for all them other games, the deck building games, as well as the new Ranger sets, Critical Mission when they come out, other things like that. I mean, maybe eventually I'll add other things. Right now I'm just sticking to the Renegade Studio, like Hasbro series. But I've had other websites where I get to go through, I can view card games like Marvel Champions, Arkham, horror card game, Legendary. I have different sites. It's nice just to sometimes go to, hey, what was in that set, or let me view that set quick. Or just even if you're looking at buying it, hey, what's in this game? Which expansion should I buy? You can hop into my site. You'll be able to go click on that box to see if it has characters you like, or if their effects are things you like. Yes, I have all these videos, but maybe you don't have time to sit here and watch me do a half-hour long or an hour-long video. Yes, I hope you guys check that out. I'm not going to post a link in here yet because I haven't posted the site yet, but I will definitely do an update when I have more of the site. See you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.